Hello ladies and gentlemen, in other words, what's up? My name is Devious. This is going to be a Total War Warhammer 2 replay. I do apologize if the tone is a little bit off because I have tried to record this about 5 times now. Any veterans of the series will immediately note that I have taken a really stupid army versus the Lizardmen. I will get to that in just a moment. I'm going to essentially try and speedrun this, keep it under 15 minutes. I know it's not going to happen, but Dark Elves versus Lizardmen, pretty solid matchup in my favor. I got a lot of anti-large options. I didn't bring any, however. I have a front line of Dread Spears. Dread Spears? No. I have a front line of Bleak Swords, which are pretty solid as a front line. Would have been better to bring the Dread Spears, as they have that anti-large bonus, which I am going to sorely miss in the next few moments. I have one Dark Shard with shields. You can tell this is not an anti-Lizardmen army. It's a pre-made that I kind of built with the help of a friend off of an army that Aerocrastic used in the Ever Chosen tournament. That worked out very well, and I've been having a lot of luck with it. Anyway, got 4 units of Blackheart Corsairs backing up the 5 units of Bleak Swords, and that is going to be the majority of my frontline / killing power. I do on the flanks and kind of stacked into the back have 3 full units of Sisters of Slaughters. I don't know why they wouldn't be full. These ladies are absolutely terrifying. 59 melee defense, 37 melee attack with poison. They are nothing to sniff at. They've also got physical resistance and a bronze shield. These ladies are hard to kill. Then I have 3 units of Harpies just here, basically for intercepting any kind of shenaniganery that I see happening, mainly for ranged units, but more or less they're basically for a fast reaction squad in this fight. Then over here, my last unit and my leadership, the Supreme Sorceress of Beasts, I have the Transformation of Kadan to summon Manticores, which I am going to completely waste, by the way, because I suck at micro. And then, no, there we go, Wiston's Wildform. That one's going to be kind of important here in a moment. As for my opponent's army, he has the Colossadon Hunters, Ripperdactyl Riders back here in the corner. If he would have brought the regular Ripperdactyls, it would have been a lot better versus this build. I think he was expecting maybe a Hydra or some dragons or something like that, which makes sense, but pretty solid pick against Dark Elves, fairly safe, just not so much against the build that I brought. Really good unit, though. Now, for his front line, he's got 3 skink cohorts backed up by 4 units of red-crested skinks, one of which is the cohort of Sotek Vian. Then he's got 2 feral cold ones, 1 on each flank, thusly. And in the back, he's got a little bit of an artillery component, somewhat. He's got the Umbral Tide Salamander Hunting Pack. Very good unit here, very high damage, very wonderful if used correctly, which my opponent will not do. And you'll see why. Otherwise, he's got a Skink Priest of Heavens, which with what looks like the entire freaking spell book, and then the new Free Lord, Free LC, if you will, Tic-Tac-Toe, who is a monster in air-to-air combat, and that is exactly what he excels at. That's exactly what he's meant to be. Last but certainly not least, is the Thunderous One. This is an absolute nightmare for the army that I brought. I have no anti-large, very little armor piercing. That's going to be a nightmare, so let's go ahead and start the battle. I notice the Ripperdactyls in the corner almost immediately and think, okay, first of all, I need to get my infantry into combat as soon as possible. Second of all, I don't want to give them time to attack my sorceress, so I'm going to immediately task all of these Harpies. Come on, me. There we go. I'm going to immediately task all of these Harpies to attack them. You can see them already going for my sorceress. The reason I did this with all 3 Harpies is because I have seen Fellbats kill black dragons with sufficient numbers. And with sufficient numbers means like 2 or 3 units. So I'm fairly confident in the capability of my Harpies to kill Ripperdactyls one-on-one. There goes a Manticore summon. Don't worry, it's not going to do too terribly much. Meanwhile, I'm just coming into range of his salamanders here. This is about to hurt quite a bit. He's shooting at my Bleak Swords, though, which is less than ideal. He's shooting with everything at my Bleak Swords, which is also not great. I have a sister flanking around this big hill up here. Funnily enough, Sisters of Slaughter are going to dominate in combat with anything that costs less than 1,000 or thereat. In fact, most things they are going to dominate in combat against, and my opponent made the mistake of not getting a solid charge in. These guys are not going to get too many hits against 59 melee defense. Meanwhile, I actually do manage to send my Feral Manticore in. I don't know how long he's going to last. The summons did get a bit of an adjustment. I'm not going to say buff or nerf. I don't remember what happened here. The Manticore just kind of stops and I forget about it. Meanwhile, Harpies coming in from their Ripperdactyl shredding mission. Still quite healthy, more or less, considering they are Harpies indeed. I didn't realize that was a skull in the background. I'm a genius. Main engagement going fairly well. I'm shooting at the Salamander hunting pack, which is really not good. I should be dumping all of my fire into the Thunderous one. And in just a moment, I'm going to notice the Feral Cold Ones in the back here. And thankfully, this Bleak Sword is in position. So at this point, I realize my mistake. I'm focusing onto that. Come on, brain. I'm focusing onto the Thunderous one as much as I can. Main infantry fight is going fairly well. Now, I'm going to slow down for just a moment because a couple of things are happening. A couple of very important things. First of all, I got my Harpies coming in. They're going to be running interference on tic-tac-toe. They're not going to do too much, but they are going to do enough. I notice that the Feral Cold Ones are coming in. I'm going to task these Bleak Swords to defend my Dread Spears, Dark Shards, because that is my only anti-armor component. I need that. I need that to survive. I completely forget about this unit of Sisters for the majority of the battle, and that is going to save my rear in the late game. Similarly, this unit of Black Ark Corsairs, I'll just let it play, are going to be chasing this unit of Red Crested Skinks and then this unit of Skink Cohort, I think. They might just bypass them completely, I'm not sure. But basically, I forget about those two units. They're going to come back roughly full health at the end of the game and basically save my rear. I notice the Feral Cold Ones. I try and get my boys in on it. I don't know what happened here, but they essentially decide to supercharge through my Dread Spears and get into my Dark Shards. And they're going to do a lot of damage. I am essentially going to lose this unit completely. Meanwhile, I don't even know what happened to my other... Manticore. Oh, it's over here. And it's actually doing something, which is nice. Getting rid of Red Crested Skinks, which I can fully appreciate. I've got some units chasing around the Salamanders. They do have a little bit of ammo left. I don't want them to shoot that too much, so I get my Manticore on that as well. Meanwhile, over here, I have a unit of Sisters tying down the Thunderous one. That is by design. Cohort of Sotek, not great. Nice little breath spell there. Probably should have focused on this unit of Black Arcs, but that's fine for you, friend. A little bit of a snipe, I think, going down on my Supreme Sorceress. I just noticed a unit of Skink Cohort over here that I can easily kill. Damn shame I wasted the Murderous Mastery over here. Meanwhile, these guys are just kind of chilling, having a staring contest with the Skink Cohort. I want to say I don't notice this. Yeah, I'm not going to notice this, but it's really not going to matter because Black Arcs are going to shred through Skink Cohort all day long. In the meantime, got my Harpies back, they're chasing this, and this is when I notice that my squishy Sorceress is way over here with a very dangerous anti-Hero Lord. So I think, okay, I should get some Harpies on that. They're not going to reach her in time. However, she's got some pretty decent speed, only going to take a couple of hits on the way back, and I have Dark Shards regrouped here. So I think, okay, I'm going to come over here, I'm going to get down and dirty with the Red Crested Skinks. That'll get me onto the ground. It's not the greatest engagement, but it'll work. Use the Dark Shards to kind of interrupt flight path. It's not going to work too well, and there's a unit of Feral Cold Ones. There they are. They're going to be coming around here and taking out that Dark Shard, and I don't notice it, or I wasn't paying attention. One of the two. It's bad news. This is when things start to go a little awry. Still a little bit of a brawl going on here. I still haven't noticed these Sisters or the Black Ark Corsairs that are hiding in the corner. Harpies coming back from routing. I'm basically just piling all of my guys in, either on the Stegodon or Tic-Tac-Toe. I want to kill one of them. I know the Stegodon isn't going to happen anytime soon, so I think, okay, I gotta get on this guy. I have to. If I don't, then bad things are going to happen. So I kind of focus a lot of stuff onto him. Well, I'll focus the harpies onto him. I don't know what I'm doing with everything else. His sorceress barely gets away. He tasks his skink priest only to chase her, which is solid, but he makes a bit of a mistake here in a moment. Can't really fault him because he'll make a similar mistake later on. Meanwhile, Tic-Tac-Toe, desperately struggling to get off the ground amongst the swarm of harpies, decides to just fight it out and is going to rout them quite handily. Excuse me while I adjust my sitting situation. Then over here, still a brawl going on. I'm slowly chunking down the Thunderous One. It's taken forever. Finally notice the sisters and the Black Arcs over yonder. I get them coming back into combat, and I think, okay, I gotta get that poison onto the Stegodon. I can't have any of my sisters rout while this is happening, otherwise bad things are gonna happen. Umbral Tide's still in there, still doing some work. They got almost 100 kills. They're doing solid. Great pick by him. Maybe not using the greatest of ways. And then something amazing happens. Speed it up for just a moment. The second he stops chasing my sorceress, comes back from routing. Now this wouldn't be too big of a deal, except this is only a skink priest on a pterodon. I'm thinking, okay, I'll fly around him, I'll get back into combat, I'll hopefully drop some Wissen's Wild Form. There's me popping an Arcane Conduit. Then he notices. I'm like, okay, fine. He's dropped Cube of Darkness on me, that's not great. I am going to throw Wissen's Wild Form on myself, barely in the nick of time. And that probably saved the sorceress. Look how much damage a Manticore does versus Pterodon. Just a little bit of shenanigans going on back here. Some sisters coming back from routing. Some more sisters in combat still with the Thunderous One. I think I forgot to have them tasked with this at first, but basically it's down to my remainders versus Tic-Tac-Toe and his Stegodon. Did I say Pterodon a moment ago? I think I might have. Anyway, yeah, it basically comes down to that. I eventually noticed the harpies. I think I'm going to go ahead and speed up just a little bit because it just degrades into a bit of a brawl here. Tic-Tac-Toe's diving in, trying to help his boys out. I got the harpies coming in. I got her coming in. She takes a spell or an ability of some sort, gets chased off the map. She's desperately trying to get her back so I can get that Wissen's Wild Form on something, and that would help a lot. I think I might have procced it over here. Not quite. This is where I make my own mistake. Sorcerer's getting chased off. He's not making the mistake again. I have the Thunderous One down to 500 health. I have him running away. And then I turn around. The obvious happens. Comes back from routing right there. It's still myself with the infantry versus Tic-Tac-Toe. I notice that the Stegodon has come back from routing. This is bad. I start to group my units up. Almost send the sisters in to deal with the Stegodon. Then I think, okay, I want my sisters on the leadership first. I was about to send another unit of Black Arcs over. It didn't go for it in the end. And I want to say you're out of ammo at this point. Yes, you are. So Tic-Tac-Toe is coming back in. I noticed that he's going for the infantry engagement. I should have just tasked all of my guys over here to fight the Stegodon. That was a little derpy on my part. This is why you don't group up units into a box when fighting monsters. That unit was almost full health. Now it's immediately wavering and running away. So that could have gone so much better. They only got a couple of hits in too. Meanwhile, lots of pain going on here. He goes straight for the sisters. Great pick, kind of. Tic-Tac-Toe is anti-armor. He is not anti-infantry, but that was a good kind of like last stand sort of unit. Hats off to my opponent, by the way, for actually just bonsai charging in and making things happen. I appreciate that, and the fact that you didn't go out cycle charging like a punk. Pardon my French. But this is basically going to be the end of the line. Either my infantry will break his leader, or his leader will break my infantry. You got the Ancient Stegodon coming back in, the Thunderous One thundering across the battlefield. Majestic as all get out. I don't actually notice that my Black Arc Corsairs came back from routing. They're probably too far away to do anything anyway. Now I have to make a decision. I pull my healthiest unit of sisters to come over here and fight the Stegodon. Again, I have them boxed up. It makes me sad. They take a ton of damage. Funnily enough, only kills a couple of unit models. But it is at this point that the Stegodon starts taking a lot of damage. And that is going to be the end of the game. Tic-tac-toe just can't keep it up against that poison. Stegodon can't keep it up against the poison. The sisters are relentless, and that is going to be the game. Let me first say that I should not have won this, I feel. I did not have the tools to deal with what I was put up against. However, Big Dennis, thank you for a wonderful match, and honestly, thank you for such a learning experience. I appreciate basically getting to play you. That was an awesome game. It was a lot of fun. A little bit of banter going on in chat, by the way. Just, basic stuff. I'm one of those players I like to say, ready when you are. I don't ready up. I wait for my opponent. Anyway, thank you guys so much for viewing. Thank you for any input you feel the need to drop in the comments section in advance. If you like the video, drop a like. If you dislike the video, drop a dislike. And do tell me why you dislike the video in the comments section if you feel so inclined. Ladies and gentlemen and others, thank you again so much for stopping by. I hope to see you out on that lovely bloody battlefield of Warhammer. If not, I will definitely see all you guys next round.